again, good to be with you all. Good to see you. Some have come in, so you, sir, good to see you, sir. And my good friend over here, who's well dressed this morning. We're doing quite well, all of us. Okay. I hope to share with you something that's encouraging today.
Frank, is your
Let
mic?
me turn the mic on.
Frank, is your mic on? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. The little green light says I'm on. Okay. Sometimes we just need to think about some things that can be encouraging to us, and this being the last Sunday of 2024 and the new year in front of us, at least we believe it's in front of us. The Lord be with us. And perhaps something that, well, I hope it's encouraging. I want you to think about place, especially such a place as enriches our sense of well-being or enjoyment or connection with significant others. A place which contributes well to the meaningfulness of life. Wasn't so much place as that Marge and I went several places in Texas, close by one another, Abilene and Stamford and Haskell, because we got to see family this past December. It had been a while. We wanted to make the trip, but doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and dermatologies and everything seemed to get in the way. But places on this earth can be very meaningful to us. And they really can contribute to the meaningfulness of life. And most of the time there are places that are associated with people that we love. Yeah, it can be. I don't know whether you're a bit like me, and that is occasionally I like my alone time. I know I'm never really alone, the Lord's always there, but even He lets me spend some time ruminating and spending time on my own. But a lot of what we have in the world is not permanent. Sometimes there's no sequel to something that we've really enjoyed. It's been really comfortable or something like that. I remember visiting with some members of the church in Adelaide, South Australia, during the season of year that we've just gone through here. And I was so weary, but I felt comfortable enough to go to sleep on their sofa. And they didn't wake me. They let me sleep on. All right. Now that's a memory that still sticks with me. And there's that. But you know what? It never happened again. It never happened again. And that's the way sometimes places can be with us. There's for us to think about some special place. If I just asked you for a moment to think about it, is there a special place on this earth that you enjoy or have enjoyed it in the past and has been very, very meaningful? But then you realize everything changes. You know that old statement about you cannot go back home? Why? Well, you changed for one thing. You've changed. And a lot of the people that you knew in the past, they've changed. And then sometimes the place has changed. You ever tried to find an old address?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you go, well, I think it was here.
Trying to find my
So here on earth, things are not necessarily permanent.
Yeah.
But you know, there is a place that is not an impermanent visitation. It's not a tourist spot. Once you arrive there, once the Lord has given you permission to be there, you're going to always be there. And it's going to be a place that's extra, extra special. If you want to try and follow along with some of the things I'm going to say, you might want to look up Hebrews chapter 11, verses 13 through 15, or through 16. Because what we're talking about, what I'm talking about, this place that is not a place of impermanent visitation, it's not a tourist destination, it is a permanent residence. Once you arrive there, you don't leave. But it's not like going to prison for life or something else. No, this place has characteristics that we want to participate in it. It'll be so much, it would be a place that is so much better than any place we've favored on earth. Anything that we might have even, there'll be no yearning for the past. There will be no regret for having left behind everything we accumulated while we're on earth. I've reached the age where, because we've helped clean up some homes where people have passed, that I think, oh good, look at what my kids are going to have to clean up. Because I'm going to leave it behind. And I'm not going to have any regrets about leaving it behind at all. It may be useful now, but eventually, no. That's the place, of course, that's sometimes referred to, and it is in Hebrews 11, as the heavenly homeland, a place that we call usually heaven. And our appreciation for the heavenly homeland can be hugely enhanced by our perceiving that there have been the others who looked forward to it, anticipated it. And this is not a matter of our being envious of them, but of our understanding that their interest in this place is one in which we can also be fully interested. And I think as Christians, it does well for us to be fully interested. So among these people were men and women like Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Sarah, Jacob. Because as a set of them, they were looking for a better place, a heavenly homeland. That's Hebrews 11, verse 16. Now, think about those folks a moment, because they enjoyed the wealth of the world. And each of them had those special earthly places with which they were associated. Noah, for instance, had his ark and the mount on which it came to settle. And also after the flood, now think about this, no one could doubt how wealthy Noah was. The entire wealth of the world. And he only had 7 people to share it with. He could have claimed it all. Something else we note about Noah and his family, they were enormously aware of just how much things can change. Whew, just went through the flood. Now that was a change that affected the world. So they, being survivors of a just judgment that God had exercised, they were witnesses to this great change of the world, and they were those among those who were looking for a better place, a heavenly homeland. Now, there were these others. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob. They had their share of wealth and delights of the world, but they understood that they were transients in an impermanent environment. They were connected to their status. They were foreigners and nomads here on the earth. While they could live with the view of their descendants actually coming into the possession of an earthly promised land, they looked beyond. You know, it's something to look at those who are going to follow you and say, good, I'm going to leave this to them. That they'll have that which is good for them. here on this earth, but you look beyond that. Not to just what can be left to descendants, but rather to what is permanent. Abraham, it said, look forward, confidently look forward to a city with eternal foundations, a city designed by God himself. Now look at the text. All these people died, still believing what God had promised them. They did not receive what was promised, but they saw it from a distance and welcomed it. They agreed that they were foreigners and nomads here on earth. If they had longed for the country they came from, they perhaps could have gone back. If they were tied to where they were in any particular place, they could have got caught up in that possession and let it possess them. But instead, they looked beyond. They looked for that which is described here in Hebrews 11 as better. Did you realize that's the word that actually qualifies the whole letter of Hebrews? Better. Everything better, better, better. Their life, that of Abraham and Isaac and Sarah, Jacob, their life was one of constant moving, constant displacement. They had no real earthly location, and so we can understand how much they looked forward to that which was permanent by contrast. Now, our appreciation of the heavenly homeland is also, I believe, hugely enhanced by our accepting the testimony of those who were given glimpses of it. Men like Stephen, Paul, and John. Stephen was granted his glimpse near the very end of his life, and I mean very like the very end of his life. We read what he proclaimed there in Acts chapter 7. But Stephen, full of the Holy Spirit, gazed steadily into heaven and saw the glory of God, and he saw Jesus standing in the place of honor at God's right hand. And he told them,